In today's show, blockchain's heartbeat syncs with the pulse of progress in developing nations. But before we dive in, did you know 65% of our listeners aren't following us? If you're into this kind of futuristic tech talk, hit that subscribe or follow button and collect our episodes on pods.media. Your support means the world.
Thanks, guys. We're diving deep into the potential of blockchain in developing countries. Let me tell you.
While the possibilities are incredibly exciting, it's crucial to examine the realities on the ground. We need to look beyond the hype and ask the tough questions. Can blockchain truly deliver on its promises? What are the potential pitfalls? And most importantly, how can we ensure that this technology benefits the people it's intended to help?
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
The source material starts with this powerful image, millions of people living entirely cash-only lives. No bank accounts, no credit, no way to participate in the global economy. Blockchain and crypto are presented as this potential leapfrog solution. It's a compelling idea, isn't it? The ability to bypass traditional banking systems, especially in areas with limited infrastructure, could be transformative. In Kenya, we've already seen the success of M-Pesa, a mobile money platform that's revolutionized financial inclusion.
Oh, wow.
While not blockchain-based, M-Pesa proves that mobile-first solutions can work.
But is blockchain really the key here? Some critics argue that it's just a fancy, expensive way to do what M-Pesa is already doing. How do you respond to that?
It's true that M-Pesa has achieved remarkable success. However, blockchain offers additional layers of security, transparency, and cost-effectiveness. Imagine a system where transaction fees are minuscule, even for cross-border remittances. Blockchain could make sending money home cheaper and faster for millions of migrant workers.
That would be a game changer for so many families.
Yeah.
But let's get specific.
Okay.
How does this work in practice? Let's say I'm a farmer in rural India who needs a small loan to buy seeds. How would blockchain help me?
Imagine a decentralized lending platform built on blockchain. You could access microloans from individuals or organizations around the world, bypassing traditional banks and their often prohibitive interest rates.
Right.
Because the entire lending process is transparent and recorded on the blockchain, it's also more secure and less vulnerable to corruption.
So it's not just about providing access to finance, it's about building trust and empowering individuals to control their own economic destinies.
Right.
That's a powerful concept.
Millions lack official identification, essentially making them invisible to the system. No ID means no access to healthcare, education, voting rights. Basic human rights are denied.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The source talks about blockchain as this digital savior, providing a secure and verifiable ID system. But how do we ensure that this doesn't become a tool for surveillance and control? Isn't there a risk of creating a digital panopticon?
It's a valid concern, and one that needs to be addressed head-on. The design of any blockchain-based ID system must prioritize privacy and individual control. We need strong safeguards in place to prevent data breaches and misuse. One way to achieve this is through decentralization, where control over personal data is distributed rather than held by a central authority.
Okay, help me understand this.
Sure.
How does decentralization actually enhance privacy in this context?
Think of it this way. With a traditional centralized ID system, your data is stored in a single database, making it a prime target for hackers or corrupt officials. In a decentralized system, your data is encrypted and distributed across a network of computers. No single entity has complete access, making it far more secure and resistant to tampering.
So it's like having multiple locks on your front door.
Yeah.
That makes sense. The source material also highlights another issue that's plagued with corruption, aid distribution. We've all seen those heartbreaking stories of aid money being siphoned off, never reaching those in need. Blockchain is presented as this transparency superhero.
Yeah.
Able to track every dollar and ensure it gets to the right place.
The potential here is immense. Imagine a world where donors can track their contributions in real time, seeing exactly how their money is being used.
Wow.
This level of transparency could incentivize greater accountability and reduce the risk of corruption.
The UN World Food Programme's Building Blocks project in Jordan is cited as a prime example. They're using blockchain to distribute aid to Syrian refugees.
That's right.
And it's apparently been very successful. But can these solutions really scale? Can we really expect blockchain to overcome deeply entrenched systems of corruption?
It's a challenging question. While blockchain can provide greater transparency, it's not a magic bullet. We need to address the root causes of corruption, which often lie in weak governance, lack of accountability, and a culture of impunity.
So it's about using blockchain as a tool, not a solution in itself. But let's be honest, even if we can overcome the corruption hurdle, isn't there a risk that these systems could be too complex or expensive for developing countries to implement? I mean, we're talking about places with limited resources and infrastructure.
That's where innovation and adaptability come in. We need to design blockchain solutions that are tailored to the specific needs and constraints of developing countries. We can't just replicate models that work in developed economies.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between cutting-edge technology and practicality, right? I mean, I'm all for embracing the future, but it has to actually work in the real world.
Exactly. And there are already inspiring examples of this happening. Take the issue of land ownership, a source of countless disputes and injustices in many developing countries. Blockchain offers a way to create secure, transparent, and tamper-proof land registries.
The source material mentions projects in Ghana and Honduras, where they're using blockchain to give small farmers verifiable proof of ownership. This could be huge in preventing land grabs and empowering communities. But how does this actually work? Paint me a picture of a blockchain-based land registry.
Imagine a digital ledger distributed across a network of computers that records every land transaction. Each entry is cryptographically secured, making it virtually impossible to alter or forge. This means no more disputes over who owns what, no more shady deals under the table.
Hold on. Even if it's on this super secure digital ledger, what's stopping a corrupt official from just changing the record anyway?
That's where the beauty of decentralization comes in. Because the ledger is distributed across multiple computers, no single entity has the power to change it. It would require a coordinated attack on multiple nodes in the network, which is incredibly difficult and costly.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be a game changer. This also talks about supply chains, tracking goods from farm to table. It all sounds very idealistic. But I can't help but wonder, is this really feasible on a large scale?
It's definitely a complex undertaking, but the potential benefits are enormous. Imagine being able to scan a QR code on your coffee bag and see the entire journey those beans took, from the farmer who grew them to your local supermarket.
That would be amazing. But how do you actually get everyone on board? We're talking about complex global supply chains with countless players.
It requires collaboration, standardization, and incentives. We need to create a system where everyone involved, from farmers to retailers, benefits from participating in a transparent blockchain-based supply chain.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about building trust and creating a shared understanding of the value proposition.
Precisely. And that brings us to another crucial aspect: education and skills development. This source material highlights the potential of blockchain to revolutionize education, especially in developing countries.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk me through this. How can blockchain transform education?
Imagine a world where your diploma, your transcripts, your certifications are all stored securely on the blockchain, accessible from anywhere, tamper-proof, and instantly verifiable.
No more lost certificates or doubts about authenticity. That's a game changer, especially for people in developing countries who might need to prove their qualifications to potential employers or educational institutions abroad.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just diplomas. Imagine online learning platforms powered by blockchain, where students can earn micro-credentials for specific skills and have them permanently recorded on their digital profiles. This could open up incredible opportunities for people to gain valuable skills and connect with employers around the world.
It's like leveling the playing field,
Yeah.
giving everyone access to opportunities they might not have had before. This is getting me really excited. But let's be realistic. What are some of the challenges in actually implementing these solutions?
One of the biggest hurdles is, of course, infrastructure. Many developing countries lack the reliable internet connectivity and computing power needed to support blockchain applications.
Right. We can't just assume everyone has access to high-speed internet and the latest smartphones. That's a major barrier.
Absolutely. And then there's the issue of digital literacy. Even if the infrastructure is in place, people need the skills and knowledge to use these technologies effectively. We need to invest in education and training programs to bridge the digital divide.
So it's about more than just providing the technology. It's about creating an ecosystem where people can actually use it and benefit from it.
Exactly. And let's not forget the regulatory landscape. Many governments are still grappling with how to approach blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Clear and supportive regulations are essential for fostering innovation and protecting consumers.
All right, so we've got infrastructure, digital literacy, regulation. What else should we be thinking about? Are there any potential downsides or risks we need to address? I mean, this all sounds amazing, but surely there's a flip side to the coin.
Of course. There are always risks to consider with any new technology. One concern is the potential for exacerbating existing inequalities. If access to blockchain technology and the benefits it offers are concentrated among a select few, it could actually widen the gap between the haves and have-nots.
So it's like a double-edged sword. It has the potential to empower, but also the potential to further marginalize those who are already excluded. How do we prevent that from happening?
It's crucial to prioritize equity and inclusion from the outset. We need to design solutions that are accessible to everyone, regardless of their income, location, or technical skills.
This makes me think about the whole issue of environmental sustainability. Blockchain mining can be incredibly energy intensive, especially for proof-of-work systems like Bitcoin. How do we reconcile that with the need for sustainable development in developing countries?
It's a valid concern, and one that we can't ignore, fortunately. There are more energy-efficient consensus mechanisms like proof of stake that are gaining traction. We need to prioritize sustainable blockchain solutions that minimize environmental impact.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, the potential risks, but I want to circle back to the positive.
Mm.
What are you personally most excited about when it comes to blockchain's potential in developing countries? What gets you out of bed in the morning? Let's take a quick break here.
Okay.
We are open for partnerships. Got a cool project? We've got the spotlight you need. We're opening our doors to a limited number of newsletters and podcast sponsorships, offering an exclusive opportunity to promote your brand and connect with our passionate audience. Check out the link in our newsletter or hit us up across all socials. We got this.
All right. What excites me the most is the potential to create a more equitable and just world. Blockchain has the power to empower individuals, strengthen communities, and level the playing field.
Can you give me a concrete example? Paint me a picture of how blockchain can make a real difference in someone's life.
Imagine a young woman in rural Kenya who dreams of starting her own business but lacks access to traditional banking services. With a blockchain-based microfinance platform, she can secure a small loan, build her business, and create a better life for herself and her family. That's the kind of impact that gets me excited.
That's a powerful image. It really brings home the human impact of this technology. But let's play devil's advocate for a moment. What would you say to someone who's skeptical about blockchain's potential in developing countries? Someone who thinks it's just a lot of hype, a solution in search of a problem?
I understand the skepticism. It's easy to get caught up in the hype and overlook the real challenges on the ground. But I believe blockchain offers unique capabilities that can address some of the most pressing issues facing developing countries. It's not about replacing existing solutions, but rather complementing and enhancing them.
So it's not an either-or situation,
Yeah.
but rather an and. We can invest in basic infrastructure, education, good governance, and explore the potential of blockchain to amplify those efforts.
Exactly. It's about finding the right tool for the job. And in many cases, blockchain can be that tool, especially when it comes to issues like transparency, accountability, trust.
Okay, let's zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture. How do you see blockchain evolving in the context of developing nations over the next decade? What's your crystal ball telling you?
I believe we'll see a shift from pilot projects and experimentation to more widespread adoption and integration. As the technology matures, costs decrease, and regulatory frameworks become clearer, we'll see more governments and organizations embracing blockchain solutions.
So we're moving from the fringes to the mainstream, from niche applications to something that's woven into the fabric of society.
Precisely. And I think we'll see a greater focus on interoperability, with different blockchain platforms working together seamlessly. This is crucial for creating a truly inclusive and interconnected digital ecosystem.
That makes sense. We don't want to create a fragmented landscape where different systems can't talk to each other. But even if we get the technology right, even if we overcome the infrastructure and regulatory hurdles, there's still the human element. How do we ensure that blockchain is used ethically and responsibly in developing countries? How do we prevent it from becoming a tool for exploitation or control?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Technology is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want to give a massive shout-out to our partners at Perks.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Yeah, the masterminds behind some seriously awesome free marketing tools for, you guessed it, on-chain creators.
Definitely check them out.
Yeah, go check them out on Farcaster X.
We need to be mindful of the potential risks and develop ethical frameworks to guide its development and deployment.
So it's not just about the code.
Yeah.
It's about the values that underpin it.
Absolutely. We need to prioritize transparency, accountability, and inclusivity in every stage of the process. And we need to involve the communities we're trying to serve in the design and implementation of these solutions.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from the nitty-gritty technical details to the broader societal implications of blockchain in developing countries. It's a complex landscape, but one that's full of possibilities.
It's a journey we're all on together, and it's one that requires us to be thoughtful, innovative, and above all, committed to using technology for good.
And on that note, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder. If you had the power to invest in one blockchain project in a developing country, what would it be? What problem would you solve? How would you ensure that your project truly makes a difference in people's lives?
It's a challenge worth embracing. Let's use our collective knowledge and ingenuity to shape a future where technology empowers, not divides.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.